Hello children, welcome to the same lesson Lost Spring by Anisian. Then in the last video we have seen the miserable condition, pitiable condition, very pathetic condition of the bangle makers. How they were helpless to pursue the same occupation. How they spent their whole life carrying the same profession, but it could not give them sufficient food. Many of them were helpless to build their house. We have also seen the children who are forced to carry their ancestral profession. The children sitting with their parents near the furnace with high temperature, sitting in the dingy cell, lose their eyesight before being adult. Now, let's see what happens. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. The narrator here says that listening to them. Them is who? Listening to the people of Firozabad, listening to the bangle makers of Firozabad. The narrator came to the conclusion that in Firozabad there were two classes of people. There were two groups of people. One of the family caught in a wave of poverty. One group of people who were bangle makers, who were poverty stricken, who were very poor, who were caught in the wave of poverty, who are trapped in the net of poverty. Burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. And burdened, they had burden. They had the feeling of shame. They had the feeling of insult that they are born in lower caste family. They are born in the family of bangle makers. With this feeling, with this stigma, they were living their lives. Children, stigma means mark of disgrace. So with the mark of disgrace, with the mark of insult that they are born in the family of bangle makers, in the family of low caste, they live their life. The other, a vicious circle of the Sahukas, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. Bureaucrats. Bureaucrats means officials. And in same Firozabad, there was the group of other people also. The rich people, like Shahukas, like middlemen means agents, like bureaucrats, officials, lawmakers, policemen and politicians. This group was just like a vicious circle, just like a cruel circle. They had spread a web, spread a trap, and this trap was cruel, unending trap. And in this trap, the poor people, the bangle makers were caught, were trapped. The bangle makers had little chance to come out of this trap. Together they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Together means all these people, all the people of this second category, second group, sahukar, politicians, officials, they all in a combined way had imposed the children, had forced the children to carry their ancestral profession. Means they didn't want that the children should come out of that trap, should switch over to the another profession. Before he is aware, he accepts it as naturally as his father. Before he is aware, who is aware? Before the child is aware, before the child is grown up, before the child is mature, before the child knows that this profession is not suitable to him, this profession is not profitable to him, this profession is not better for their bright future, he gets accustomed to this profession. He accepts the profession just like his father, grandfather. To do anything else would mean to dare. In Firozabad, if someone wants to change the profession, switch over to the profession, then he must be daring. He must be bold. He must be courageous to break this tradition. And daring is not part of growing up. And the children are not brought up in such an environment where they are taught to be daring, where they are taught to be bold, where they are taught to be courageous. Means they are never taught to be courageous and bold, so they are not bold. They cannot dare to change the profession, to accept any another job. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. So the narrator says that when she sees the sign of hope in Mukesh's eyes, the sign of dare in Mukesh's eyes, courage in Mukesh's eyes, then the narrator feels very happy. She thinks that at least there is one child who is ready to change the profession, who is ready to accept another better job. I want to be a motor mechanic, he repeats. He repeats. Mukesh says again that, man, I want to be motor mechanic. I don't like this job. I don't want to be bangle maker. He will go to a garage and learn. But the garage is a long way from his home. I'll walk. Mukesh says that I can go to any extent to realize my dream. I'll go to garage. I'll learn their skill. Then the narrator says, the garage is far away from here. The garage is at the distance. Then Mukesh says, no problem. I'll walk there. I'll go there on foot. Do you also dream of flying a plane? He is suddenly silent. No, he says, staring at the ground. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. He is content to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town. Then the narrator asks, Dad, do you want to fly aeroplane also? Do this. Mukesh feels ashamed. He wants to hide his face. He looks at the ground. He doesn't look up at the narrator. But why does he feel ashamed? Because hardly he has seen any aeroplane. In Firozabad, very few aeroplanes fly. So, if he has not seen aeroplane, then how can he dream to fly aeroplane? That's why he feels ashamed. But he doesn't regret for his dream. He doesn't regret that. Why does he want to be a motor mechanic? Why does he not want to fly aeroplane? He is contented with his dream. He is satisfied with his dream. Mukesh is a practical boy. He knows his limit. He knows his worth. He knows that it's beyond his reach to fly the aeroplane. But motors, he has seen several times in the streets of Firozabad, hurtling, running. Few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad. But in Firozabad, very few aeroplanes fly. So here, the story comes to an end. Now, I want to tell about the theme of the story. The brief idea expressed by the author. The message conveyed by the author. Through this story, the author highlights one of the burning issues of India, problems of India, and that is child labor. Child labor is a cause, so it must be eliminated. And the elimination of child labor is a tremendous task. We all should come forward. Here, let's talk about the title of the story. Lost Spring. A spring symbolizes childhood. A spring is associated with hope and optimism. And every child has a hope, has dream to do something better in the life, for bright future. And no one has right to snatch the hope from a child. Childhood is a period of play, fun. Childhood is a period for physical and mental growth of the children. It is the period when a child can get knowledge, can get a skill, can go to school. So, we must allow them to do the same. So, although this lesson describes the factual events, factual situations of misery, sorrow, but it is full of literary devices such as hyperbole, irony, contrast, paradox. Firozabad presents the perfect example of paradox because here it contrasts the beauty of the Bengals with the misery of the people. What is paradox? Paradox is a figure of speech in which contradictory statement is given. Means the statement which crosses itself. Like on the one hand, Firozabad is very beautiful city. It is famous for beautiful Bengals And on the other hand, we can see the misery, sorrowfulness, sadness of the Bengal makers. So this way lesson comes to an end. That's all. Thanks.